In a psychologist's office, the teenage boy Max expresses his desire to be considered normal, despite the seemingly impossible circumstances he faces. His face is completely covered in bandages, as he was born with an extraordinary beauty that tragically causes anyone who sees it to perish, albeit in a blissful manner. Max recounts the story of his birth, revealing that he unintentionally caused the deaths of the nurses and doctor who witnessed his face. Fortunately, his parents are immune to his captivating beauty. Studies have determined that Max's face generates a surge of hormones that immediately end a person's life due to its overwhelming attractiveness. As a result, the family had to relocate to a small town and take extensive precautions, such as homeschooling Max, to safeguard both him and others. However, these precautions have resulted in Max growing up isolated and socially awkward. His unusual hobby of embroidery serves as a form of solace. Initially skeptical of Max's story, the psychologist coerces Max into revealing his face, only to meet a tragic end. Max's parents rush into the room upon hearing a peculiar noise, only to discover the psychologist lifeless on the floor. The police subsequently arrive and caution Max's parents about the series of deaths, warning that they cannot continue dismissing them as accidents. Max is urged to exercise caution to avoid potential incarceration. As the adults engage in conversation, Max notices a red brick lying on the ground and decides to take it with him. Meanwhile, Max's parents, seeking to alleviate Max's loneliness, ask his only friend Dan to sign him up for a dating app. Max finds this suggestion bothersome. Later, in his room, Max implores Dan to hit him with a brick in a desperate attempt to end his deadly beauty, but Dan refuses to do so. However, when Dan becomes distracted by notifications from his dating apps, Max throws the phone to the ground, inadvertently causing Dan to strike him as he desired. Subsequently, Max finds himself in the hospital with his mother. While waiting in the hospital's waiting room, Max's mother comes across a magazine article seeking families to host exchange students, which could potentially offer Max an opportunity to have a friend. Despite Max's disdain for the idea, his mother suggests it to him. In his search for a different magazine, Max finds the rack empty, except for the last magazine held by a girl named Alex. They strike up a conversation, and Max becomes intrigued. The girl kindly offers to share the last magazine with him. Later, Dan suggests organizing a blind date for Max to lift his spirits. They meet the girl at a restaurant, and although Dan attempts to break the ice through conversation, the encounter quickly becomes incredibly awkward. The girl appears wary of Max's appearance, prompting Max to offer her an embroidered handkerchief bearing her name as a friendly gesture. Though the situation begins to improve, it is interrupted when a troublemaker named Craig causes a disturbance in the restaurant. Craig targets Max due to his reputation and pushes him to reveal his face, leading to a chaotic situation. The restaurant staff eventually intervenes and removes Craig from the premises. Max asks the girl for another date, but she rejects him, now frightened by his appearance. Devastated by the disastrous date, Max feels resigned to never having a normal life and contemplates taking drastic measures to end his existence. However, Alex unexpectedly arrives and teases him, diverting his attention. They engage in a conversation about Max's dream of swimming in a tub filled with jelly beans, which manages to distract him from his troubling thoughts. Alex invites Max to accompany her, and they take a bus to a retirement home, where they spend a delightful afternoon with two lively elderly ladies named Rosemary and Esther. Tea, snacks, and games provide moments of joy. During their time together, they discover that Esther, despite her Alzheimer's, aspires to write one last book before her passing. The encounter at the retirement home leaves a positive impact on both Max and Alex. After spending the time together, the boy asks Alex for another date, to which she says no without giving any reason. The boy talks to Dan about the girl and how much he liked her. Eventually, Dan suggests that Max should not give up and advises him to search for Alex at the spots where they had previously encountered each other. Inspired, Max designs an embroidery piece depicting their bridge moment. The following morning, Max returns to the bus stop and realizes that Alex deliberately missed her ride, sparking hope within him. Alex appears somewhat wary but agrees to spend time together. They go shopping for jelly beans and fulfill Max's dream of swimming in a bathtub filled with them, sharing joyous laughter. Returning to Max's home, Alex admires his embroidery, leading her to request that he create a design featuring her. An intimate moment ensues, interrupted by Max's parents' unexpected arrival, causing the teens to hastily separate. While his parents surmise the situation, Max's mother expresses her happiness that he has finally met a girl, embracing Alex. Additionally, Max's parents introduce them to Yushin, an exchange student who will be residing with them, along with her antisocial cat. Despite Yushin's aloofness, the family makes an effort to integrate her into their home, even though she often isolates herself. At dinner, she prefers to order her own food and dine alone. Max's parents insist that he join them on a camping trip, leading to a disagreement. Eventually, Max agrees to go, accompanied by Alex, Yushin, Dan, and Dan's new date. While Yushin remains disinterested, the others enjoy exploring, taking pictures, and bonding. When Alex accidentally injures her hand, Max uses his face bandages to dress her wound, inadvertently causing a flutter in her heart. Later, while setting up camp, Max follows Dan's lead and covers himself and Alex with a blanket. Alex surprises Max by asking him to blindfold her and touch his face, enabling her to envision his appearance. Max reveals that he previously caused the death of a girl who broke the rule and looked at his face, which caused him immense guilt. However, Alex comforts him with a kiss, solidifying their bond. Max finds solace in Alex's company, appreciating her understanding of his situation. However, the relationship takes a tragic turn when Alex's health deteriorates rapidly. She confesses that her terminal condition is worsening and her experimental medication is ineffective. Alex requested Max to see his face for the last time before her death. Max, overwhelmed by the thought of losing her, initially refuses to reveal his face to Alex. However, he later changes his mind and visits her at the hospital. In a tender moment, Max removes his bandages, allowing Alex to see his true face before she passes away with a smile on her face. Devastated by Alex's death, Max attends her funeral and feels a profound sense of loss. He turns to therapy to cope with his grief and begins to honor the lessons Alex taught him. Max continues to visit the retirement home, offering companionship to Esther and engaging in end-of-life discussions with individuals who reach out to him for assistance in achieving a peaceful death. Over time, Max discovers that true love granted Alex immunity to his deadly beauty, which also explains why his parents and Dan remain unaffected. Max, thank you for watching. Drop us your thoughts about the movie in the comments.